What's going on, guys? Back again with another video, and today we're talking about Red Bull and why Sergio Perez is still at risk of losing his seat in 2024. Now, the first point I want to go over is Red Bull. Red Bull as a team, they have objectives, right? And obviously they want to win the constructors. They've already wrapped up this year a long time ago, and they're already focusing on next year. They want to win the drivers and constructors championships. Now, they don't need to worry about their drivers because Max has that handled. The guy's been carrying the whole team on his back. Frankly, he's been going beast mode. You got to give it to him. You know, he's been performing at an elite level now since 2021, really. He's been demonstrating some eliteness, some greatness. But let's not act like Formula One is a one-man show. If you put Max Verstappen on his own against Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz with the same machinery, of course he's going to lose, because that's 2v1. Now, why am I making this point? Going into 2024, Red Bull will be assuming that the competition is getting closer. It will be foolish of them. It will be naive of them to think that going in that 2024 season, they're going to have the same buffer that they have this year. And so naturally, they have to assume that the competitors are getting closer and that they're going to be in the 2024 Bahrain, that they're going to be much closer to where they are right now. Mercedes or Ferrari or McLaren, whoever it is, they have to assume that the competition are going to be right with them. Maybe not faster, but within a couple tenths. And that means they need to be on their A game in every department. Now, Sergio Perez, we could talk about his season. I mean, he's had a pretty terrible season. Now, he's had a great race in Las Vegas. Nothing to take away from him. You know, he's a second driver and he's doing what a second driver does. But what we're talking about here is a more fundamental issue, I think, that the Red Bull have. And that's this. If a team are able to bring the fight to Red Bull in 2024, which likely will be the case, what are they going to do? They're going to have plans in place. You see, Sergio Perez, currently in the championship, has sealed second now in Las Vegas. But what's worrying is that the second place was even in danger in the first place. I mean, this is the most dominant car we've seen in history. Max Verstappen has won 19 races. That's the most of any driver ever. The car has been firing on all cylinders on every single track. It's beastly. It was working on every single track except Singapore. There's no reason that Sergio Perez should be anywhere near Lewis Hamilton, for that fact, especially when everyone else on the grid is so up and down. 1 minute they're second fastest, the next they're fifth or sixth. We know that Helmut Marko is not afraid to take risks, and he's not afraid when he thinks it's time to get rid of drivers. We've seen it with Alex Albon, we've seen it with Pierre Gasly, we've seen it with Daniel Kvyat. I can keep going. It goes on and on. Whenever he sees a driver who's not performing, he gets rid of them. Sure, right now Sergio Perez is performing well, but under what standards? Because if another car is able to challenge, or multiple cars for that fact, being 3 tenths off Max is no longer going to be acceptable. Because if we look at Perez now, on average, Perez is around 3 to 4 tenths, 5 tenths, on a good day, 3 tenths off Max Verstappen a lap in the race, and perhaps a bit more on qualifying. Now, at the moment, that seems sufficient for a second driver, but that's not going to be sufficient if the track closes the way we are expecting it to in 2024 and the way Red Bull expect it to. So sure, 2024, they're going to start the season with Sergio Perez. His seat is not at any risk at the moment. But going into 2024, when and if a team are able to bring the fight to Max Verstappen, whether it's Lewis Hamilton, whether it's Charles Leclerc, every other team of the big four have got a better driver lineup. McLaren, Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris is a stronger lineup. The Mercedes, George Russell and Lewis Hamilton is most definitely a stronger lineup. Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz is most definitely a stronger lineup. And if we're talking about two people getting the job done, Max Verstappen is going to have his hands full. Now, I've seen people saying, okay, Sergio Perez until 2024, he has a contract to 2024. Look, contracts are nothing, let's be honest. It's just a piece of paper. We've seen before Red Bull have kicked out how many drivers. Their contract didn't say nothing about that, you know. So whenever they feel like you're not performing, and when it starts affecting them, that's when they'll get rid of you. It's no doubt Sergio Perez hasn't been performing, but let's not act like if this was Red Bull in 2020, Perez would have been gone a long time ago. Because arguably he's performing the same as Alex Albon did in 2020. The only reason he's still in the seat is the Red Bull is so clear, far of everyone else, that him being 6 tenths off is actually a P4 or P3. And therefore that's acceptable because they're not losing anything. They don't have to make a decision right now. It's not affecting them to that extent. But going into 2024, if the pack closes up as we're expecting it to, they're going to have to most definitely make a decision, and they're going to have to make a quick one. Now, another significant reason why Perez's seat is at some serious risk is Daniel Ricciardo. Now, let's not act like Daniel Ricciardo came in to play, just to smile and wave. We all love Daniel Ricciardo, but why did he come into the AlphaTauri seat? He's looking to go in Red Bull. And Christian Horner knew that when he brought him back. When he brought him back into the team for his off year, we all knew what that was leading to. Christian Horner has a great connection with Daniel Ricciardo, so does Verstappen. He's there for a reason, and that's to come back in. That's for them to test him and see, has Ricciardo got, is it old Daniel Ricciardo? Is this up the inside late break in 2014 beast mode? Is this him? Or is this the 2021, 2022 couldn't find his groove, Daniel Ricciardo? And I think we're getting the answer to that in these couple of races. Since Daniel Ricciardo has come back from his injury, we've seen him performing at a high level, and it's gone under the radar. We look at what he's done just in the latest race in Las Vegas. I mean, Ricciardo was quicker than Tsunoda all weekend. Standard. Just getting the procedures done. We saw what he done in Mexico. Absolutely amazing performance from Ricciardo, and it single-handedly took AlphaTauri from last in the constructors to P8, and he won them. Just by doing that, he won them millions and millions of dollars. Now, why is this affecting Perez? What does this mean for Perez? Well, Daniel Ricciardo is the only driver to have even been able to go close to Max Verstappen. Daniel Ricciardo at his best can be a brilliant and the best number 2 driver. Because let's not act like Daniel Ricciardo can't give Max problems. On given days, on given tracks, Ricciardo can absolutely give Max Verstappen problems. And that's the reason they had him at Red Bull. And let's not act like he was kicked out. Ricciardo chose to leave. That's the only reason he left Red Bull. Now, sure, many years later now, he regrets it and etc. But if he's performing the way he's performing now, he's demonstrating to Red Bull that he is the old Daniel Ricciardo, and he's got that performance in him, maximizing what he can out of the AlphaTauri. And I think when push comes to shove, we even saw it in Silverstone. Christian Horner said that would have been the front row with the lap that Daniel Ricciardo put in. Now, I'm sure many people are going to have many things to say about that. But the bottom line is this: Red Bull are going to need 2 strong drivers in 2024. And if Perez has even close to the season that he had this year in 2024, he will be gone by mid-season. You guys let me know in the comments if you think something else. Without further ado, man, we out here, man. Let's go, man. Gang.